Looking for happiness. As they say, in all the wrong places. As if there is right places. Maybe there is a right place. But right and wrong doesn't matter in Tantra, does it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're always doing it, you're always seeking, what are you always looking for?
My fulfillment.
Your fulfillment. So how do you go about that? How do you go about your fulfillment?
Being a me seeking.
Yeah, what are you looking for? So you go on this great journey and great task based on, here's the assumption, everybody. And don't ever look at the assumption, but here's the assumption. You are somewhat unhappy, a separate one, and your journey in life is to find your happiness. Find your bliss, find your happiness, get cool, whatever, be rich, be famous, get by, be happy, be loved, get loved. There's this big adventure that you're going to go on based on the assumption that I am looking to find out who I am. And sometimes you even go to the spiritual path to find out who you are, but then you don't like the answers there. Because that's a tricky place to look. But most people just go about looking in ordinariness. They look about, how can I go about life and find fulfillment? And everybody's found it many, many, many times. Thousands of times. When you just eat a cookie you like, you were fulfilled. When you saw the guy that you like smile at you, you were fulfilled. When you got an A in science, you were fulfilled. So you go down this path and you say, look at all these fun things that are fulfilling. I got this fulfillment today, and this fulfillment today, and this one, and I'm going to go for this one, I'm going to try this one next year. You got all your plans, you're going to graduate from college, make lots of money, be famous, whatever. But mostly you settle into a groove of pleasurable fulfillments that you can attain every day. You settle into that groove. And while you're doing that, you're also looking to avoid any suffering that might be lurking. Oh no, I get a hangnail that hurts. How do I feel fulfilled while I'm eating chocolate cake and have a hangnail at the same time? Gets a little complicated on this path of fulfillment. But let's face it, everybody's good at it. You're good at this. You're good at this. You're good at it. How come you don't congratulate yourself? I find happiness, and happiness is be able to have pleasurable fulfillment every day, and hopefully almost minimum or easy suffering. So you've all succeeded at the path of happiness. Haven't you? Where's the congratulations? Where's the sense like, I attained it, I did it? Because you're doing it every single day. Aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why is there a feeling you haven't attained it? What's that feeling? Just go have another cookie and then you can feel it again, right? What else you like doing? Take a swim, you can feel it again. I have attained pleasurable fulfillment. Isn't that all what you're trying to attain? Is pleasure? Isn't that fulfillment? Pleasure? And then there's this little thing in the back of your mind is, oh, wait a minute, this is all going to run out someday.
Yeah.
Maybe the store's closed and I can't get the cookie today. But tomorrow I can get it and be pleasurably fulfilled. Maybe I'll have 5 cookies 5 times.
Make up for it today.
Yeah. But then you say, wait a minute. Maybe I'm young now, or maybe I'm getting old, but this is all going to run out. Who cares? I attained pleasurable fulfillment. So the purpose of life is to be a separate one who goes out there and attains pleasurable fulfillment. And you're all doing really wonderful at it. Now, personal fulfillment is pretty easy to attain, but how do you keep away suffering? That's a little more challenging. If I can crack that, I got it made. And please, let's not think about, the end of experience or anything like that. Okay, that's too shocking, too difficult, too much. That's just for realized people or sages or philosophers. Don't bother with that stuff. All right, so you come along. Okay, I am pretty good at being able to have my everyday schedule of pleasurable fulfillment. I am fulfilled. But sometimes suffering does happen. What do I do about suffering? What do you do about suffering?
Try to avoid it.
Try to avoid it. How can you avoid it? Sometimes it just keeps knocking at your door. I'm suffering. I'm interrupting your pleasurable fulfillment. I'm coming in. Oh no, the roof's leaking. The rain's coming down. Getting wet. It's cold. Ooh. Suffering's happening. Suffering's happening. Oh no. Okay, what do I do with suffering? So after a while you say, well, maybe I can be pretty good at avoiding suffering. I'm pretty good at attaining fulfillment. So now I want to be good at avoiding suffering. I know suffering's out there, but maybe I could be really good at avoiding it. So you can play with suffering and avoid it, or think you somehow mastered it, or you're in control of it. You think you can somehow control and attain perfect pleasure and fulfillment, and you can spend an entire life doing that and congratulate yourself, and you're on your deathbed and you say, I attain perfect pleasure. I attain perfect fulfillment. Look up to me, the masses. I am great. Enshrine me in your shrine. I did it. Here's my way. Here's how you too can do it. Well, that's what most people think spiritual path is. Being able to avoid suffering and being able to attain pleasurable happiness. Because only happiness is pleasure, isn't it? It can't be anything else, because that's what you all want. So you're doing this your entire life, and that's it. Congratulations, and it's over. So what? I have nothing to do with any of that. So what I'm trying to do is something different. I'm trying to show you that the assumption of fulfillment and the pursuit of that your entire life is what keeps forming your identity of the separate one. Doing that. So if you look at every single day, you are always seeking a pleasurable moment to be fulfilled in. You are always doing that, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yet there's requirements. The requirement you have to make some money so you can buy some food, so you can have a place to live. And some of those interrupt with the sense of your fulfillment. But you can get around that, right? Somehow I can figure it out, right? So it's a whole clever game of going out there and assuming that I am going to be fulfilled. And here's the game. And I'm going to win. And you all have won. And you all have won continuously. And you're doing very well. And your lives are very easy. You don't really have all that much suffering. So everything's great. You won, you won, you won, you won, you won. So why the heck do you want to give up that game and that identity to be nobody and just be true being as consciousness? Why would you want that? You don't, because you haven't done the process. You're not participating in it. There has to be the difference. And what's the difference? Why would you let go of this assumption of being a separate one who's going to go out there and find fulfillment in all sorts of little experiences? Ordinary, maybe some are bigger, mostly ordinary. Why are you going to give up that life and do this terrible long road of ego effacing and ego undoing and ego releasing work that just shatters all your identity and all your connection to the world and all your connection to everything that says you are succeeding and you're getting fulfilled and you are fulfilled? Why would you do that?
It's not true.
That's the intuition you have to have, that it's not true. So if you truly have that intuition, then all this everyday little game of assumption of me getting fulfilled by this and that, or trying to figure out a way to outsmart sorrow or sadness or suffering, you're willing to do the other thing, which is the ego releasing work. So if nobody has any success with ego releasing, ego recognizing or ego releasing, and understanding that you are always seeking, is because you're still committed to what? The assumption and the game. Everyone is volunteering to seek, but they don't see what it is. They don't see the futility of the conclusion of it. Everybody assumes they're coming to a happy fulfillment, and you do. That's what you're all heading for, retirement and doing whatever pleases you all day long. Isn't that what vacation is about too, right? Going on vacation? Yeah? Okay. So what is the spiritual process about that's different from that?
Examining what's actually happening, what's really real.
Always looking at that futility. Always looking at it. Never not looking at it. So knowing that this is not true, that is based on a false assumption, you can fake being a self, and you can fake being fulfilled. And you can even fake your sorrow and your suffering at times. And dramatize all of it. And create philosophy and interesting stories and movies about it. And so, all what you're tending to do, all what you're trying to build up and be, that momentum has to be what? Stopped. And the guru gives you the instruction, the role model, and the confrontation with that. So when you see you're always seeking, then you really see what? The futility of it. If you haven't seen the futility of it, then you have enjoyed the separation, the assumption of your separate one, and you've enjoyed your fulfillment. You don't want to be messed with. So people can go to spiritual teachers and spiritual communities and spiritual churches and everywhere else and still assume all that. People have had spiritual experiences, and it didn't undo their ego, and it didn't show them the futility of the ego or their seeking or the conclusion of it at all. In fact, they just built the little stories around it and how they understood something and felt something so deeply. If you felt something so deeply, you couldn't do the seeking anymore. You would have your heart open to ego releasing work, and you would be doing it all the time. So a true spiritual experience, if it hasn't done that for you, what was it?
Another experience.
A pleasurable fulfillment. That's what it was. Many people have pleasurable fulfillments, materially, physically, sexually, mentally, and spiritually. It doesn't change a thing unless it changes everything. So you can go around, tell the stories about you had a special experience with this teacher, or you had this special heart opening, but if it didn't show you the futility of seeking, and that you must keep attention and abide in true being, and give up all these little games of personal fulfillment, and deal with suffering, then what did it do? It just diluted you more. It's another little package you have of your personal fulfillment. So so you can't have pleasurable fulfillment without suffering. And you can't have suffering without pleasurable fulfillment. So every life has a mixed bag. For one person, something might be extremely pleasurable and fulfilling. Another person, it might be like the worst goddamn thing they'll ever have to do. So even that is kind of, some suffering is just your point of view. Some pleasure is just your point of view. But everybody agrees on certain kind of suffering and certain kind of pleasure. Mm-hmm. And everybody has to agree that you are going to have both. Right? Mm-hmm. You're all going to have both. So if you're going to have both, how do you win at the game of creating identity from pleasurable fulfillment? Well, a lot of lying and a lot of bullshit and a lot of, that's how you do it, right? Yeah. False way, you gotta have a lot of lies, you gotta have a lot of bullshit, you gotta have, kind of righteous anger and, whatever strong emotions people have about everything. Hatred and anger and righteousness, and you don't have any of the softer emotions like, compassion or kindness. They're not too interesting in the game of fulfillment, are they? All right. So, any questions about this? So you know where you stand. So if you're wondering, like, Hadida said, you have to find out that you're always seeking. Okay, I'm always seeking, but it's not. You're just saying, you're disagreeing with him. But you're really thinking, like, tomorrow I'm going to try this and I'll be fulfilled. Right? That's what you're really thinking about. That's what you're really working on in the privacy of your bedroom or at your computer or on your iPod. You know, you're really thinking, it's working.
Something's bubbling up here.
Yeah, good. And then the next phase comes the suffering, and you're like, fuck, I'm depressed, I hate everybody, I'm the biggest victim in the world, everybody thinks I'm a jerk, nobody likes me. And then the phase says, I'm on top, everybody thinks I'm cool. And you go through that, and you play that game endlessly, and you put a lot of drama into it, a lot of fake emotion, a lot of good acting job, but you don't actually do much. Basically just go to work and come home, watch a little TV, and that's your life, right? Basically. So, oh, wait a minute, you might do 20 minutes of meditation each day, too. It's good for you.
Good for you. Builds character.
Feels happy, fulfilling devotees. So you're all being fulfilled. All right. Does anybody get my point, or you got my point? So you know yourself what you're doing, if what you understand. So if you're still playing the game and using spirituality to somehow achieve personal fulfillment, that's what you're doing. But if you really want to be undone of the separate self sense, you're going to have to recognize and release all that activity and how you feed all of that, all the fulfilling game. You're going to have to recognize that and release that and not do that game anymore. You're going to have to locate consciousness, true being, without a you in it that's going to get fulfilled. If you can locate that without a you in it that's going to get fulfilled, a humbler you, a simpler you, an innocent you, then you can allow the process and the work to get done. But you keep building up. I've been here 50 years. I'm pretty spiritually special by now. I'm almost on the verge of getting spiritually fulfilled now. I put my time in. A lot of people left their teachers just because they thought they put their time in, and now they should declare themselves enlightened and cash in and be a teacher, and they take some form of the teacher's if they had a good teacher, a true teacher, and they make it into the ego part's okay and enlightenment, okay? That's what they do with it. No, because the real process and the real realization obliterates the ego. But you have to completely say, it's a piece of shit, it's a false assumption, it's a stupid activity. I don't want it, I'm participating only in my love, devotion, and relationship to true being, to the sacred, to the true one who lives us all, who is true. Not this one who's out there trying to get happy. I'm done with that. So each person in their heart knows if they understand the futility of seeking or not. If you don't understand it, I don't think studying it all day in books is going to help you either. What are you going to have to do?
Change your life.
What's that?
Change your life. Change the way you live.
Observe it and
Look.
life. Yeah, look.
Observe it,
Yeah.
and if you need to change it, look at it.
Yeah.
Look at everyone's suffering, look at everyone's assumption, look at your own, look at the game, look what the media is telling, look at everything. Look what the culture is based on. We are all individuals with the right to get happy. Look at it and look at it. And when you really see it for what it is, then you can begin to really let go of it. But you all have your secret pockets where you think, like, I'm fulfilled in this one, I'll get fulfilled in that one. So no one's done it to the point where they have seen the futility of the separation from true self, or the ego activity of looking and chasing after their personal fulfillment. You all act like you've never been personally fulfilled, but you've been personally fulfilled every day, almost all day long, doing exactly what you want, getting fulfilled by money, food, sex, whatever you can think of how you, whatever an experience that you like, you've been fulfilled by it, and many, many, many times, right? Not just trying to get there to get fulfilled. You've been fulfilled many times. So where's the sense of accomplishment? Oh, when people go out and say, I have my PhD, I'm the prom queen, so they go out and announce their fulfillment, don't they? Yeah. I genuinely believe people are, whatever you settle for is your fulfillment. Right? Whatever you settle for is your fulfillment. And you will feel fulfilled to some degree. So how can you feel like completely happy about something and you feel, I'm so fulfilled? Right? How can you feel like, wait a minute, I don't think I'm feeling it on a scale of 10, maybe 7. But I want to feel it on 10. Well, how do you get there?
There would be no one there to ask for more.
Yeah. What do you say?
Asking for the
I did the perfect painting. I'm never gonna paint again. I'm gonna wait for the whole world to catch up and say, that's the perfect painting that ever did. I feel fulfilled by doing the perfect painting. Now I want everyone to catch up and feel fulfilled by my fulfillment. Well, this
Sounds silly.
dreams
Sounds
of
silly.
That's the way it is.
that's the dream of fulfillment is.
Yeah.
So they're all to me completely silly because it's all untrue. But in dreaming, when you wake up, none of the dreams really are happening. So if you didn't like them, if you liked them, it's like reading a good book. If you like a good book, someone takes you on an adventure, you want to tell other people about it. It's not actually your adventure. You're not doing it. And same thing. You have a dream, you wake up, and you might like it, but it's not really actually affecting your life now. You're not doing it. But you like all that. Nothing's really actually happening to you now, which is either suffering or pleasurable fulfillment. But you could sit here and think about something more pleasurable than hearing me talk about this. Oh, I think I'm going to have a piece of cake later. Maybe I get another cookie. It'll be done pretty soon.
Good thing I got that painting done.
I better work on that painting!
I don't have to do any more of those.
Alright, so goes on and on. So that dream, and that dream can include spirituality, it can include science, it can include the arts, it can include mountain climbing, it can include anything you can think of. That dream of being fulfilled, of finding yourself and fulfilling yourself. So where you're at with this is how your process deepens and quickens. So if it's going really slow and you build up a spiritual fulfillment ego, but you don't have actual realization, you're not actually really free, you're not actually true identity, you still assume false identity in some weird relationship with true identity, well,
Good luck to you.
why doesn't this occur to more people? Because the other thing occurs to everybody all the time, which is, I'm a separate one, and I'm here to get happy through experience. That occurs to you all the time. You're always working on that. You're always problem solving that. You're always being emotionally cranky or happy based on that, how that's going. All your emotions are based on how that's going. Anyone who's really involved in ego recognizing and releasing work doesn't have all those cranky emotions and those up and downs and those dramas. Those emotions are based on your search and your seeking. So a lot of people think, oh, I come to my guru and, oh man, it's like really a restrictive life. It's like being in in a nunnery or something, no good sex anymore, can't even flirt with the lady that sits over there anymore. The teacher looks at me and goes, look, what are you doing?
So hard.
Nothing good.
Watch TV with her. Have ice cream.
Oh boy, what a rough life. I'm giving up everything for this enlightenment. All pleasurable fulfillment. No. You're not giving up anything. You haven't given up anything yet. You're just trying to get what? Pleasure fulfillment out of spiritual context. Another person say, I'm going to the game. It's a playoffs. I'm so excited. This is great. Want to come? And the person says, well, I like hanging out with you. I'll come. I'm like, oh man, this is really boring. Oh, God, when is this going to be over? You know? So some people feel the spiritual path of being in an ashram or in a nunnery or whatever you are is really boring and, you know, like, oh boy, how am I going to get through this one, right? Because your motive is to work on your pleasurable fulfillment. And believe me, fulfillment is pleasure. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for pleasure. Pleasure from people loving you, pleasure from sex, pleasure from food. That's what you're looking for all the time. Except when you have the intuition that that's futile, right? That can't be the truth. But what do you do with that intuition? Well, if your intuition is really your intuition, then you do sadhana, and you do it with great force and great heart. You don't do it a little bit here and a little bit there and go through a lot of drama, a lot of confrontation with your issues. You don't have to do any of that. Read my book. I didn't do any of that stuff that you've been stuck doing for years and years. So, where are you? Have you seen the futility of seeking? Have you seen that you're always seeking yet? So you can say, I've seen you. I see that I'm always seeking. But you're kind of happy about you that you see you're always seeking. I got it! No, that's not it. It's like you can't be happy about it that you got it. That gives you great passion for the ego releasing work, for the true spiritual work, for the true devotion to what's true. It fuels your devotion to what's true, see? So instead of your feelings of like, poor me, unfulfilled me, trying to get happy, I think I'll do the spiritual path, it's going kind of slow, not getting anywhere, this is depressing, I'm not fulfilled. It's not that. So when you see the futility of seeking, you really see it. It opens your passion for the divine. So if your passion isn't really the big thing of your life, then your seeking is. You don't have much time for that kind of passion, for that kind of love, for that kind of... You could say, I love my guru so much, and just seek all day long. Because your love is what? This
Pleasurably fulfilled.
is
Yeah.
pleasurizing you.
Mhm.
Yes. That's how you pleasurize yourself. Like a lot of people like to think of the person they're in love with, and they feel great pleasure in thinking about them. But what are they actually doing for that person?
Nothing.
Not really.
Seeking. Yeah.
Yeah, just seek it.
Yeah.
You can think pleasurable thoughts all day.
Doesn't do anything.
You can read pleasurable books all day, or watch pleasurable movies all day. So what does that produce?
Wanting more.
What's that?
Wanting more.
Wanting more. Yeah, it doesn't produce the passion and the depth for the divine. See, once the futility of seeking is really seen, you don't want to seek anymore. And that opens the doorway, the passion, the heart to the divine now. So if you're not on fire like that, then you're still going around seeking. Right? What else could you be doing?
Seems like they're both full-time jobs. You gotta figure out which one you want to do.
Yeah,
You know?
that's right. That's right. You can only serve one master, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since no one has that depth yet, I would say you're all serving the other master, the one of special me, getting fulfilled. I'm going to figure this out. I can use maybe a little bit of Santosha's teaching, a little bit of her wonderful power and energy for that. And then there's good movies, and then there's bicycling and swimming and all good stuff. And of course, once in a while, suffering comes around and just irritates the hell out of everybody. I don't have time for this. Suffering. Why did you die on me? You were supporting me. Now I have to get a job. I don't have time for this. You're interfering with my fulfillment. I'm mad. Like my acting job?
That was great.
That's great. You believed it for a second, huh?
I'm scared.
Get scared now!
Ah!
But that's how I experience you. And your great emotions.
Yeah.
All your great emotions are just faked. They're just acting jobs about your fulfillment. They're not about your passion and your heart for the divine. They're all about your acting job. So you go to work and it's the same stupid job every day, but today you're in a bad mood because of my job. But it's the same thing every day. I'm in a bad mood with my job. I'm not getting fulfilled here. But 2 weeks ago you said, well, look, I did the best report of everybody. I am fulfilled at my job. What game are you playing? The dreamer's game. Of looking at experience and inventing all these lies about it all the time. So you're lying. But you believe your lies, so to you, that's where you're going to settle. But if you have that intuition, this is futile. This assumption can't be true. I've met my master and she's told me it's not true. She's shown me it's not true. So you have to what? Put it to rest now. You have to let all that passion and drama you had for it die off, and the heart will now show you the way. All your feelings don't mean nothing. They're nothing because they're not the heart feeling. They're not passion for the divine. Every feeling you ever had about everything is just you trying to get fulfilled by something. It wasn't a real feeling. You never loved anybody yet. You never really did anything with love yet. You haven't touched love yet. Because love requires sacrifice of the ego. So your love has always been but your personal
Pleasure.
fulfillment. Your pleasure. Yeah. When does the page turn and close on my separate identity and my fulfillment? When does that story stop being written? And when is the undoing process of all that? When does the heart open and needs to be and live now? When is the love and happiness of the heart not based on how you look and get and experience anymore? When does that not matter? So when does it matter? When does it stop mattering what happened at work? When does it stop mattering if your best friend got another best friend? When does all that stop mattering? So you can go to your death being associated with a realizer, being in an ashram, and still not in this, still just playing a little game of personal fulfillment. You can be worried about being old. You can worry about being young. You can worry about childbearing years. You can worry about everything and say, I can't do this because I'm old. I can't do this because I'm young. I can't do this because I'm too horny now and I got to get a mate and I got to have a family and got to have babies and I got to raise them. I'm too busy. What are you doing? You're looking for fulfillment. And then, of course, there's this strange thing called death where everything ends. You don't have all your experiences run out. And you don't say, wow, that was a waste of time. Most people don't, do they? I never heard anybody on their deathbed say, wow, this whole life was a waste of time. Nothing was really true about it. It was all bogus bullshit. Nobody says that at their death. They say, I love you. Right?
Yep.
And who are they loving?
That last
idea.
fulfillment.
The last moment of fulfillment. That's what they're going for. That last
I'm gonna
one.
make it this time.
I'm going to make it this time, like your dad said. Yeah. So, billions of people have come and gone on this planet and lived in that bogus assumption of the separate one, that life is here and you're entitled to happiness. So go out and figure it out and get it. People were in other past decades were happy if they survived a little bit. But now we're entitled to happiness. And we can pleasurize ourselves almost all day long, and we can really succeed at being fulfilled. But instead of that making us incredibly, beings, we become selfish, mean, righteous, creepy, dark, greedy, all the things that are attributed to lower self. So if you live in those emotions, that's because your life's involved every day in just trying to personally get fulfilled in a lot of little greedy, selfish ways. That's what you're doing. That's what you get. So, but the good news is, and the bad news is, and the good news is, and the bad news is. There's someone here to tell you what's really true, and so I've told you, and I've demonstrated it, I've lived it, you've tested me on it, you see it's true, I don't have any doubts, but when are you going to doubt your own game? When are you going to see the futility of it? If there is an intuition that this is just a mass delusion, this assumption of separation from true being, from true source, it's just a delusion, and there's no means to get happy. You can get personal fulfillment, yeah. You can't escape suffering though, but you can get personal fulfillment. But is that the true meaning, the true fulfillment, the true thing, the true understanding, the true nature of who and what you really are? Is that it? That's what you have to find out. That's your journey. That's what you have to participate in. I always say, you got the same amount of attention, you got the same amount of energy and ability for attention. Put it on the truth, or put it on this assumption, I'm separate and I'm going to get fulfilled in experience. One's going to have one result, the other's going to have the other result. You know the one I went for, and you know the result here. I know the one you're going for, and you know the one you're going for. You all still live in states of anger, reaction, depression, sadness, madness, selfishness, laziness, meanness. You still all live in those states. So that's the result you're getting from not understanding and getting that point. The futility of seeking. The futility of being a separate one. And the consequences of it. And the suffering of it. Because you can have pleasure in this life. You don't want to see the suffering and consequences of following that assumption of being a separate one. It's already suffering, even before you do anything in experience. It's already suffering, being a separate one. What's the worst torture you can give anybody? Leave them isolated by themselves, right?
Yeah.
So why is that the worst torture?
Is it avoiding that?
Because we live in relationship and connection. We need to love, we need to serve, we need to let go of our own selfishness to do that. Our own need for entitlement for our personal happiness to be able to do that. All right?